welcome to Tune of the Month and happy August! This summer on Tune of the Month has been Request Palooza, in which I've been teaching tunes that you guys have requested that I do, and I'm going to continue that trend today. I'm going to teach a tune that has been requested several times, Real Beatrice, which is maybe one of the most popular rock out tunes of all time as far as fiddle camps and jam sessions are concerned. So it's absolutely one that everybody should have in their repertoire, and it's super, super fun. I don't know the exact origin of this tune. It's a little murky, at least to me. If you know for sure, please put it in the comments. I'd love to know what's the real story. But the Irish play it, and the Scots play it, the Americans play it, the Canadians play it. I've heard that originally it came out of the Italian accordion tradition, where they call it Aghi Nevica, which is really cool. I definitely suspect this has accordion origins. But for today, I'm going to teach it as a French-Canadian reel, which is how I first learned it. So we'll call it Real Beatrice, which is what they do up there. And it goes like this. A 1, 2, 3. C-section, you can end it on the A or the B. Everybody changes a little bit. I like to end it on the C-section, just give it that little smile. If you're just listening, thanks for stopping by. And if you're ready to learn it, let's dive in. Okay, so part of the reason that I really believe that story about it coming out of the accordionists in the European area, and maybe not even Italian, maybe a little further east, is that you can probably hear this is not a usual tonality for like more Western fiddle tunes. There's definitely a lot of clues linking it to klezmer music, a lot of the fun chromatic work in the minor sections. Also the fact that there are 3 sections in which the 3rd section is a total contrast, right? The A and the B in A minor, and then the C section suddenly going to the relative major, C major. A lot of klezmer tunes do that, as you know, if you've followed the klezmer tunes on past Tune of the Month videos. So there's that line that we're playing with where tunes kind of all blend influences. It's definitely in there. Okay, so yes, A minor is where we start at the beginning, and we do have 3 sections, but don't worry, they're very patterned and fun to play. I'm going to play the A section slowly without a whole lot of the extra that we would put into it, or we're going to put into it in a minute. See how much you can sound out. 1, 2, 3. Part 1. Here's the next part. Next part. Ending. you can hear I was calling out those mini sections as we went. And another strong reason that this is hinting at influence from the Roma traditions, the klezmer music, is that it doesn't quite exactly follow that part 1, part 2, part 1 formula that we're used to in fiddle tunes. Don't worry, it will later in the tune. But here in the A section, we've got kind of a sequential feel. All right? So part 1 is really just a great big fat A minor arpeggio down low in your register. So go ahead and find that now. A minor, root, 3rd, 5th, and then the top root. All right? So 2 pickups. Yeah, so you see how that's mostly all A minor arpeggio? The pickups go up the scale. Here's the 3rd, so the next 2. And finish with a little neighbor tone. Yeah, the ending there, that's the only part that isn't A minor arpeggio. Da da da, little neighbor tone. Good. Now, I'm going to start already talking about bowing patterns, and there are no new bowings in this tune compared to all the things we've done on Tune of the Month in past videos, right? And mostly what we're going to use here is the idea that when you have a quarter note, one long note, you're going to slur the next 2 eighth notes up bow. I call it long slur. And that's so you fix the bowing so you still end up down bow on the next downbeat, which is always our goal with dance music, all right? So check it out. Here's my downbeat down, here's my slur. Now I'm back separate. The next downbeat's down bow. And everything works out just fine. Try it again with me. And a long slur. Very good. If you need a couple more reps on that first little part, just go ahead and rewind the video. I'll practice with you as many times as you like. Okay. Now the next part where we normally have a part 2, it's really just part 1 again, but up the octave. So find your next octave of A minor arpeggio. That's it. Kind of convenient. Try it again. Long, slur. Those 2 together, the low A minor arpeggio and the top. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Lower, long, slur. Next octave, long, slur. Pretty good. Do it one more time. Long, slur. No sweat, you're halfway through the A section. Okay, now the next part is where it gets fun. This is where it gets spicy and high. Yeah, really hear that klezmer influence in there? Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, everybody makes a big deal about this part because it goes up high. It's not a big deal. It's a scale. Anybody hear that? Down the scale, down the scale. And then there's just a little chromatic neighbor tone at the end there. It is no big deal whatsoever. The reason some people think it's a big deal is because when we go up the scale, that high C is above the range that you can reach in 3rd position. But that's 1st position. Sorry, you can see where I'm going with this. Above the range of 1st position on the fiddle. But no problem, because it's not that much above, and you really have 2 choices. I don't even waste a shift on this. I extend my 4th finger, right? Because to get from the B to the C is only a half step. So I just scooch my 4th finger up and back. Scooch it back. And neighbor tone, a chromatic neighbor tone half step to make it sound spicy. Yeah, so you can totally do that and not even have to shift. You can also shift. And really, wherever you want to do it is totally fine. There's about 4 or 5 different ways to shift this or not shift it that work just fine. So you go with what's good for your hand. I will tell you that I prefer not to shift here. It's only for one note. I'm just going to extend my 4th finger. Highly recommended. Try a bunch and see what works for you. All right, let's try it together. 2 pickups. 2, 3, and reach down the scale. Good. Try it again. Reach. Good. If you want to try some more fingering options, just pause the video or rewind and play with me, either way. And this very ending, everybody's favorite part. I'll do it again. Okay, so again, sounds super fancy because that little bit of chromatic work, but it's just a neighbor tone. So you need that D sharp. For fiddlers, it'll be a high 3rd finger, but really however you want to do it. Back to the D natural, go down the scale. All right, that's the first part. Try that again. Chromatic neighbor. Return it to normal, go down the scale. And then the very end. Now we've seen this pattern before in Tunes of the Month. I'm sure you've seen it. It's like a little stepwise decoration of down the scale, cold cross buns, because it's minor, cold cross buns, cold step above, crossed step above, buns. Yeah, so we call it a little stepwise or staircase or something like that. Good, and that's the whole ending. Now notice I am using here, I did it in the past part too, the high scale. I'm using our old friend, the hook 3 bowing. 3 separate, 3 slur, and 2 extra. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra, and now finish it off. Try that again with the bowing. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. That's a great bowing for Canadian and French Canadian styles. Anytime you have a measure of running 8th notes, you can use that hook 3. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. And it's nice because it gives a little bit of an offbeat feel when you start that up bow slur. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra. And it's rhythmic and fun and nice. So I highly recommend it. You can use it anywhere you like. That's a bar of running 8th notes. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the whole A section. Let's put it together. A minor arpeggio lower, A minor arpeggio higher. Reach for the high scale, and then our ending. No biggie at all. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and a long slur. Next octave. Head it up. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra, neighbor tone. 1, 2, 3, slur, extra, little tail to end. Repeat. Up. And that's the whole A section. Well done. All right, we're on a roll now. We need a B section. In the B section, we're going to stay in A minor, and you'll notice some very similar pieces coming back borrowed from the A section. I'll play 2 Bs a little bit slowly, see how much you can sound out with me. Repeat. Part 1. section because it uses the same ending from the A. And in fact, it uses it for the ending of the B and also for the part 2 turnaround. So you only have one new part to learn, and that's part 1 of the B section. Now notice each time I played that, I kind of played it a little bit differently because I was ornamenting. Ugh, I try and behave so hard, but this one really wants to do it. And I'll show you why. Let's do the skeleton of this, and then I'll show you how to variate it. The skeleton goes. Do that again. Sound it out with me. Yeah, so you hear that in that second half? It has that high D sharp similar to what we did for the A section ending. So, D sharp. Okay? So that's the skeleton. If you're still getting comfortable with that, you could just keep repeating it over and over. Now, what happens with this tune, because it has all those repeated notes, there are different ways you can rhythmize it, especially in the French Canadian tradition. We're all about rhythmizing repeated notes in a different way, right? So here, long, slur, could also be played as just separate bows, right? What would be the long on that A, I can double that. So that's kind of my first multiple choice option, right? The way we create variations in this style is kind of thinking about it multiple choice. So that first little group, you can do long, slur, and then land, or you can go separate. Your choice. Okay, next little group. Sometimes I play that little long. Sometimes I play it little separate. And sometimes we put in a cut. Now a cut we've done in past tunes of the month, basically sometimes it's written as a triplet, sometimes it's written as 2/16 and an eighth, but it's a little rapid fire in your bow. And to make it work well, you want to make sure that you're lower in the bow, right at the balance point of your bow. That's the point where your bow will balance. There's mine. Balance point is in a different place, a slightly different place on every bow. So make sure you know where yours is, and you can do it by testing. Keep a hand here so that way you don't drop your bow. That's where you want to do that cut. And I add a little bit of extra contact, leaning on my index finger. So I have some traction there, right? So here I go, first part. Now here's the thing, when I put in cuts are almost always in this tune, gonna go down bow because it's much easier to use gravity. Now because it's 3 notes where we would usually play 2 without the cut, we're gonna end up backwards bow. And that means a bowing convention, every time you play a cut, no matter where it is, the very next 2 eighth notes you're gonna slur. That's a rule that will get you through your entire life with brilliant cut playing. Anytime you have a cut, down bow, down, up, down, slur the next 2 eighth notes up bow. Every time. It will always, 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 always work. Okay? So here we go. Let's do that part 1. You can kind of make your own choices. I'm going to choose the cut right now. 2, 3, and long, slur, cut, slur. Good. Try one more time. Now play the ending of the A section as the turnaround. At the very end there, to get back around to part 1, I like to do a little arpeggio. A minor arpeggio. It's actually an A minor 7th. Yeah, I got it. So let's play part 2. Little tail. Arpeggio up to part 1. Ending. Repeat part one, your choice. Turn around. Up the arpeggio. Ending. And I like at the end of the second A to not do the little, not the little stepwise. I just land it. Because that's the way when you do that break, you're kind of letting folks know there's a big change coming. And so there is, because here comes the C section. By the way, well done B section. You've got some variation going on in part one, and then you're using the ending from the A section as part two and the ending for the B. Woo! Okay, here comes the C part. I'll play it. G major. Back to part one. Ending. And that's it. That is probably the easiest single section we've had in the history of Tune of the Month if you're listening for patterns. So you may already have it. And you notice this is a great place to practice your cuts because they're everywhere here in the C section. C section is in C major. We have two pickups. And then we're just going to use the C major arpeggio with a little cut for the next two. Do the same thing again. And that's it. That's part one. Try it with me. Two pickups. C major, cut, slur, up the arpeggio. Do it again. Good. If you need any repetitions of that, you can rewind, but hopefully you're good. Next part, same pattern, but use a G major arpeggio. Resolving to C. Try that again. Check your cut bowings. Are you slurring the next two eighth notes after your cut? Cut goes down bow, slur. Now you're back, normal. Now from here, reach up your fourth finger again. So you can play that C major scale. This is just like what we did in the A section. Only even more here in this part, I would recommend don't shift for that high C. Just extend your fourth finger, so much easier. If we had more notes that were up higher, up above first position, I would say probably shift. But just for one note, why would you shift for one note? That's a lot of work. Long walk, short drink, I believe is the expression. So just extend your fourth finger. And if it feels like your fourth finger can't reach, I'm going to recommend it helps your overall hand playing anyway. If you kind of think about bringing your elbow, do you see I'm softening my elbow under here? And look what it does for my fourth finger. It brings it more up over the strings and actually kind of makes my fourth finger longer. So if you are having trouble reaching that, just soften your elbow under, tuck it under, and your fourth finger will reach much better. Okay? So here we are, we're in part two, the G major chord. Cut, slur, reach your elbow under. Good, now we're back to part one, C major. Same thing again. And here's the ending, G major. Land on C, stay on C. Yeah, the ending is basically the same as part two without the fun scale. Try it, ending. C, stay on C. And that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the whole C section. Let's put it together. Starting with part 1, C major. 2 pickups. C, cut, slur. C, cut, slur. Good. Part 2, G major. Elbow under. Good. Back to part 1. Ending. C, stay on C. Repeat it. Part 2. Elbow under. Part 1. Ending. Okay, get ready. We're going back to the A section. A minor arpeggio. Same thing up an octave. Elbow under. Reach. Chromatic neighbor. Here's our favorite ending. Repeat. A minor. Up an octave. Elbow under. Ending. Here comes the B section. Up the arpeggio. Repeat. Choose your own rhythm. Here's our favorite ending. Up the arpeggio. Favorite ending. End it on the A. Here's C section. Part 2, G major. Elbow under. Yeah, part 1. C, stay on C. Repeat. Up. And that's the whole tune. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a great one for practicing those repeated patterns. Great one to get a little bit of the klezmer zest in with those chromatics, to work on your bowings, and of course the cuts, which you can put in kind of wherever you like. Anytime you have two repeated duples or a quarter note, it can turn into a cut. So if you wanted to put in even more, like at the beginning, that quarter note, long slur, can be turned into a cut. And I think I did a couple of those when I played the tune at the top of the video. So that's just a little idea I'm leaving you with here at the very end, the doorknob idea that you can play around with to get even more cuts in. It gives it a very French Canadian sound, really drives it. So I hope you love this tune. I certainly do. You'll use it lots out in your life. We've just learned it here in A minor, which is, as far as I know, the original key. It is also played in G minor. Right, and last summer we were working on some transposition here on Tune of the Month, how to take a tune from one key to another. So if your group plays it in G minor, you can try taking these patterns and moving them down a step, All right, use your G minor arpeggio. I had to think about that for a second, but yes, the same patterns moved down a step will give you this tune in G minor, which many sessions do that. On her recording No Boundaries that made this tune really famous, Natalie Master plays it in G minor. So it's great in G minor and in A minor. Cuts, no cuts, it's your tune. Have fun. All right, well done, you guys. If you would like, as always, to see sheet music for this and any future tunes of the month, make sure you're subscribed to my email newsletter. That's how we stay in touch. And I love each month, as a little thank you for staying in touch, I send my own handwritten chicken scratch of the current tune of the month. So if you're already on the newsletter, you already have this in your inbox. If you're watching me from the future, I hope it's nice there. I'll see you there soon. And if you sign up now, you'll get all future tunes of the month coming to your inbox as well. All right, look forward to seeing you guys next month. Come check in for more tunes. Bye.